Welcome to round 4 of the 2017 TCR Asia Series. We're back at Zhuhai in China. I say back because we had round 3 of the championship about 5 hours back, and that was an interesting affair. What's more interesting now, though, is it didn't look like we were going to see any more rain after a fairly rough week, very unpredictable practice and test sessions, clean qualifying. It was dry for qualifying. The opening race was dry. We saw the pole sitter, Jasper Thong, setting the very first pole for the new Audi RS3 LMS TCR. He went on to victory after an outstanding start, despite some pretty intense competition from behind from the likes of Tin Srichai, Kennedy Kasiri, and in fact local driver David Chen. He managed to withstand all of that and stand on the top step. An historic moment for the 17-year-old Audi Hong Kong driver, and also a very good moment for the Phoenix Racing Asia operation. Of course, Marchie Lee, the co-team principal, helping that team to victory. So that was a good start. What's happened since then is the heavens have once more opened. These guys have had some practice over the last few days in fairly slippery conditions. Looks like the rain's fairly well set in. It's just nuisance value. It's not really intense. And it's the kind of rain that if it stopped could see a dry line develop during the race. So there's a bit of confusion down in pit lane as to exactly which way they want to set the cars up. Certainly a lot of the teams were looking skyward after the opening race, and here it is. It has developed into a full wet race. So let's see how this one plays out. Of course, we had qualifying on Saturday, and during qualifying, Jasper Thong, the 17-year-old from Hong Kong, put his Audi, the number 5 Audi Hong Kong car, onto pole position. Alongside him, just 6/100ths of a second slower, was WS Lai from R Engineering in the Honda Civic TCR, the Malaysian, first time here at Zhuhai. Very impressive run. Third was David Chen from the new Tianchi Racing team. They are based here in Zhuhai, have a lot of experience certainly in touring cars, but have some good experience with GT3 competition. And David Chen ran very competitively in the China GT Championship in a R8 LMS GT3 car last year and did quite well alongside Italian Max Visa. On screen, that is Alex Fong, ex-Olympic swimmer representing Hong Kong, now an entertainer. He's making his debut this weekend, so as a swimmer he will be used to these conditions for it to be wet, so he'll be looking forward to a nice result after a fairly torrid start in the opening race. Didn't get through the first lap after running wide on the final corner, but this will be something new for him to take on board, and his goal for this race is to finish. So the teams are lined up on the grid. It was David Chen who started from position 3 after qualifying. Position 4 was Kennedy Kasiri, who's second in the championship. Of course, the number 2 Liqui Team Engstler, Volkswagen GTI TCR. Terry Huang in the second of the Tianchi Racing Team Audi RS3s. That car arrived out of the container, brand spanking new, on Friday morning. So it was the first chance they had to see the car, the first chance they had to run the car. And I say by the close of the first qualifying leg, those 2 cars were positioned in 1 and 2. Of course, then we went on to the top 10, a 10-minute shootout, and that was where Jasper Thong rose to the top of the field with the fastest lap of the weekend, a 1:44.920. And we're not going to see, I would hazard a guess, we're not going to see that improved on in this race. Tin Srichai back in the Honda Civic TCR. He ran last year in position number 6. He qualified in position 6. Then it was Philippe Souza who was back in a Volkswagen Golf TCR car. Of course, he ran as the second entry for Liqui Team Engstler alongside Andy Yan, the 2016 champion, of course, of the TCR Asia Series. And Abdul Katir, the second of the R Engineering Honda Civics, qualified 8th. Now, the reason I highlight those 8 is that field is now inverted, and that is the starting order for this second race. So you will see AK in the number 23 R Engineering Honda Civic will start from pole position. Alongside him, Felipe de Souza from nearby Macau, driving for the Macau David Racing Team in the aqua-coloured Volkswagen Golf. In position number 3 will be Tin Srichai, who sadly had a fairly tough run despite making it into the lead for about maybe a metre or two, or very close to the lead, firing it down the inside at turn 1, inside both Kasiri and Jasper Thong, but was unable to pull it up, threw it off into the gravel in the opening race, and managed to recover for 5th position. But he will start from the second row. Alongside him, if we just go to the actual sheet, will be Terry Huang in the second of the Tianxi Racing Audi RS LMS TCRs. Kennedy Kasiri will start on the outside of the third row. Alongside him, David Chen. Then it's WS Lai and Jasper Thong is your top 8. Here is the Zhuhai International Circuit, the first permanent circuit built in China. It's just across the Pearl River from Hong Kong, about an hour by ferry, a lot shorter by helicopter. On screen, that is the pole man. Abdul Katir made his debut in TCR last time out, Farouk, yes, in his R Engineering car. Does a lot of driving with R Engineering in the Malaysian Championship, right alongside WS Lai, the team leader for R Engineering. So AK will start from the pole position, and you can see left of screen, windscreen wipers going fairly heavily. That is Felipe de Souza. Of course, ran last year with the TCR Asia Series, made the podium towards the end of the year. Was a very consistent runner inside the top 5, and a good tail gunner too to teammate Andy Yan in assisting the sister car, the Andy Yan number 3 Volkswagen Golf GTI TCR, to take the 2016 championship. Third on the grid, Tin Switchright. There he is on screen, back in his Jazz Motorsport prepared Honda Civic TCR. Of course, he started the season in, funnily enough, Felipe de Souza's 2016 Volkswagen in the colours at Team Thailand. The popular Thai driver has not had a great run over the last couple of seasons, hampered by a lot of technical and little niggling issues with his car. If he just had a clean run, I think you'd find that that young man would be amassing quite a number of points in this championship. Terry Huang making his debut in what was a brand new car. See a lot of lead weight sitting beside him. Some of the Volkswagens are carrying as much as 90 kilograms of ballast. So that is a fairly hefty weight to be dragging around the circuit. It'll actually probably work in their favour in these damp conditions to create a heavier contact patch for those Michelin wets on this wet, slippery Zhuhai circuit. So, distance 4.319 kilometres, 14 corners. It has been a part of the FIA GT World Championship back in both 1997 and 2004, built in 1996. It was actually included in the provisional calendar for the 1991 Formula One season. Never been here, of course, Formula One, but it was added at one stage for inclusion into the program. A1GP's run here, of course, Asian Le Mans, and this is actually the very first time TCR Asia has competed at Zhuhai, even though it was scheduled to be the very first round back at the early stages of the 2015 season. Unfortunately, TCR very new, TCR Asia, the second championship after the TCR International Series to start. And the reason for its withdrawal from that 2015 calendar was down to basically delivery of the cars. Such was the burden for the manufacturers with the new championship that they were unable to get the cars here in time. So the second round of the championship became the very first round of TCR Asia, and that of course was at Sepang in the middle of the 2015 season. And Sepang of course was the opening round of the year for the 2017 TCR Asia Series, and that one dominated by the very same team who dominated the 2016 championship, and that is of course Liqui Team Engsler. Now, after round 3 of the championship, here are the points. Diego Moran continues to lead for Liqui Team Engsler, 62 points from Jasper Thong, now up to second. Kennedy Kasiri in third place, not much between those guys. WS Lai still in it. Tin Switchright, despite a fairly tough start to round 3, 42 points. Abdul Katir 34, Alex Liu, Douglas Q, SK Tong and Eric Kwong make up the top 10 in the outright championship points for the TCR Asia Series after round 3 of the 12-round season. You can see it's wet. We had a big crowd in for the first race earlier, but I think the weather's probably gotten the better of them. It's been wet basically over the last 4 hours. It started about an hour after the conclusion of the opening race, and it's been fairly consistent ever since. Although it doesn't look too much like it is falling. So let's see. It could develop a dry line as we get through this race. We've seen that this new Michelin wet that they're running, of course, control Michelin tyres, both slicks and wets for the TCR Asia Championship, as it is for the TCR International Series. Are very good in serious wet conditions, but of course if the track does start to dry, that may create some element of challenge for the drivers. That could even see them firing down pit lane for a tyre change, because there can be a quite significant variation in lap speed between wearing wet tyres on a drying circuit and weighing into consideration, if you've got the dry line, you can be much quicker on a set of slicks on a dry line on a damp circuit. So it'll be one of the things that drivers will need to take into account. Another of the things that some of the engineers were talking to me about after the first race, whilst looking skyward to see what the weather would be like, is the amount of downforce they run on the car. They ran a fairly flat rear wing during the opening race, so less drag on the car, and that allowed the car to have a higher terminal speed, so less drag in a straight line. But that lessened the load on the rear tyres. Now they want to increase the load on the rear tyres for greater grip in these damp conditions, so they again have to compromise a little bit on setup. There's not too many umbrellas in pit lane, so I tend to suggest that it is starting to dry off. So there you have it, Abdul Katir starting from pole in the R Engineering Honda. Alongside him, Felipe de Souza from Macau and the Macau David Racing Team Volkswagen. On the second row of the grid, Tin Srichai finished 5th in the opening race after throwing himself off the circuit in a battle for the lead in the Team Thailand Honda, alongside from position 11. Further back, Alex Fong for Audi Hong Kong alongside Eric Kay in the second of the Elegant Racing Team Seat Leons. Now we'll get one sighting lap for the teams to come around and line up for a standing start. And a lot of what they learnt from the opening race and a dry start, not had wet weather start so far this year, a lot of what they've learnt they're going to have to throw out the window. There will be a fair amount of throttle modulation off the line, try and limit the wheel spin, and also try and limit the wear on the tyres. Too much wheel spin and you're going to take a little bit of life out of those wet weather tyres, and I fear, at least for the first half dozen laps or so, they are going to need as much grip as they can get on this Zhuhai International Circuit surface. So it's AK, Felipe de Souza, Tin Srichai, Terry Guang, we've got Kennedy Kasiri, then it is David Chen and Jasper Thong on screen. Championship points leader Diego Moran starting position 10 during qualifying. He was on a hot run, position 4 at the time. Volkswagens don't quite seem to have the pace of the Honda and the Audi here at Zhuhai, so he's working very, very hard. Came out of the last corner after setting 3 good sectors. Stuck a couple of wheels a little bit wide on the right hand out into the outside of the curb, and that just spun him across to the infield. Very lucky to pull it up before the fence, but he was beached for the majority of the 20-minute session. The team recovered him during the 10 minutes between the two qualifiers, took the car back to pit lane, cleaned out all the stones, made sure it was right to go, sent him out on a fresh set of Michelin slicks. Unfortunately, he felt he just couldn't get tyre temperature into the tyres to put in a quick lap, and was ultimately classified as the last of the top 10 shootout runners in that final 10-minute qualifying leg. So for Diego Moran, he's got a lot of work to do. Finished quite strongly in the opening race, so that was certainly an advantage, and that brought him back into the equation. So 4th overall, he was a little bit further back from the field, nearly 10 seconds down on race leader Jasper Thong, but keeps his championship points lead alive. And he's got to do it again from position number 10, but the Ecuadorian showed a very clean set of heels during the second round of the championship in Sepang. Took over after Tin Srichai and Kennedy Kasiri took each other out effectively a couple of laps into the race, and he just comfortably drove away from the field. So he'll be hoping to work his way through from position 10 as quickly as he can. Likewise Jasper Thong, although one thing we did see with the 17-year-old from Hong Kong is during the wet sessions here in pre-event testing that he didn't quite have the pace that he showed during the dry running. So keep an eye on the number 5 Audi Hong Kong car. There's Alex Fong in that gorgeous grey, silver and gold livery. Another great Berserk design for the Phoenix Racing Asia squad. You see it just on screen there. We'll be hoping, former Olympic swimmer, to make it through this race and earn his stripes, and hopefully an invitation, he hopes, to come back to Zhuhai for the third event on the calendar, which is back here in 3 weeks' time. So they'll line up for a start. Once the starter's happy that everything's right, the green flag will be given at the back of the field once all the cars are in position. The lights will go out and we will be racing. And keep an eye on just what'll happen with too much wheel spin. We'll see how these drivers have set the cars up. Tyre pressures will come into play a little bit too with grip, but you can imagine that they'd be fairly easy off the line and quickly grab second and third gear to try and torque their way off the line. But anything could happen. Wait for those lights. There's the green flag. Field is ready. We're underway. Round 4 of the 2017 TCR Asia Series is about to fire up. Just waiting for the lights. The lights will come on. There'll be a slight delay. The lights will go out and we will be racing. Everything seems in order. Rain appears to have stopped. There's the lights. They're on. And we're away. The start is on for round 4 of the championship. It looks like Felipe de Sousa on left of screen has just bogged down. That's allowed Terry Huang to get up the inside and look at Tin Sritro. What a blinder. Off the second row. He's got 2 wheels on the grass. He doesn't need to be doing that. Up the inside of AK to take the lead away into turn 1. Then it's the 2 Tianchi racing cars battling with Kasirian. WS Lai too. A good start up to position 5 in the R Engineering Honda. Visibility pretty tight. There's a lot of spray. You've got to be very careful with that. But out of the haze comes Tin Sritro. Then it is AK, followed by Terry Huang. WS Lai up to position number 4, Kennedy Kasiri. And then we are back to David Chen. Behind David Chen, a good start too by Jasper Thong up to position 7. Very racy is WS Lai, looking at the back of his teammate, wants to get past and take that position away. Will AK let him through? Yep, he's let him go up the outside rather, and tuck in behind him under the rear wing of the 39 car and try and follow his team leader through and learn something in the process. Kennedy Kasiri, position number 4. Off the front line, that was not the best of starts for Felipe de Sousa. He seems to have dropped back to about position number 8, right back there in the mist. They need to be very careful and tiptoe around, not to be too hard under brakes. Need a little bit of temperature in these tyres. And that is Diego Moran battling with Felipe de Sousa. So the former Liqui Team Enxler driver battling with the current Liqui Team Enxler points leader further back in the field. Tin Sritro, great start in the Honda, opening up a bit of a gap. As now David Chen's looking down the inside of Kennedy Kasiri to try and take position 5 away and move forward and onto the tail of AK, and he's done it. So he's moved up the order. Tianchi Racing Team, this is their home circuit. They've debuted these 2 gorgeous green and gold Audis just on Thursday and Friday this week. First time they've seen them, first time they've run them, and they've put in a very solid performance. 1-2 in the opening leg of qualifying was a great start. 1:59, so we can't take too much out of the times, but 1.8 seconds already. Tin Sritro up on Terry Huang immediately behind him. WS Live putting in another solid lap. He was quite quick, but he had to work his way through traffic. Ahead now of poleman AK, who's holding down position number 4, and with David Chen all over him. Kennedy Kasiri in position number 5. He'll be looking to try and move forward. He needs to move his way up the order to improve his championship position. Just in a bit of a watching brief now as David Chen has gone down the inside now of AK to take away position 4. So that's 2 of the Tianchi Racing cars now, team cars, inside the top 4. As Kennedy Kasiri fires up the inside of AK and drops him a little bit further back down the order. Jasper Thong moving forward. Still Felipe de Sousa holding up points leader Diego Moran further back in the second of the Liqui Team Enxler cars. So it's been a clean start so far. Looks like we have all the cars classified. Alex Fong in fantastic news for his fans. He might be a little bit further back down the order, but he is still circulating towards the rear of this field in the number 6. Audi RS3 LMS TCR from Audi Hong Kong. Good start too by looks like Alex Liu in the second, or rather the first. It's the 99 car in the Elegant Racing Team, just at the tail of the top end there, and his teammate Eric Kay a little bit further back. Very frustrated with his performance so far with the new car. Of course, he made the debut in the very first TCR Asia Series race back at Sepang in 2015. Was immediately on the podium at that stage, driving for Craft Bamboo Racing in a one-off appearance. but since that time has had a little bit more difficulty with the front-wheel drive TCR car. Has had a bit of time out of the seat and admitted he needs a few more miles under his belt. He's looking for a little bit more as a 1:56 now, 1.4 seconds for Terry Huang as he's closed down that lead of Tin Srichai by 0.4 of a second on that second lap. On screen, David Chen stepped across from an Audi R8 LMS GT3 car from China GT last year, making his debut in TCR, as of course is his teammate. Now here's the start. AK on rider screen, but the one who got the monster start was local driver Terry Huang down the inside. But there's Tin Srichai firing through from the second line to take the lead. Down the grass was not the ideal position to hold, but he managed to pull in and tuck up the inside of the number 23 car and take the front running into turn 2. Very clean further back. Doesn't appear to have been too much contact in the mist there. And Jasper Thong nicely up into position 7. He's now moved into position 6, taking Felipe de Souza last time round. So it's Tin Srichai leading. Terry Huang in position number 2. WS Lai position number 3. 2 Honda Civics from Jazz Motorsport in the top 3. Although Lai's a lot further back all of a sudden. 4 seconds. No, he's disappeared. So Lai's just been taken by, that is David Chen in the second of the Tianchi racing cars. He doesn't look very happy about it too. He's trying to find a way back through and take that position away as Kasiri looks to go up the inside and take advantage and move forward. A little bit of a different line as they head down the long straight to turn 9. Srichai trying the drag race. Not sure that he's going to be able to pull it off down there. They're actually into turn 10, turn 11, and now around turn 13 and 14, of course, to complete another lap. That is 3 laps down, 1.9 seconds now, the lead for Tin Srichai. He opened up a quite healthy margin there last time round over Terry Huang. As we say, David Chen now up to position number 3, but he's got WS Lai all over the back of him, and Kennedy Kasiri is also in the mix. Now, that's not great for Alex Liu. He is shown in pit lane. Mechanics, the Elegant Racing Team crew, having a good look at the Seat Leon just to see what the issue is there. He didn't have a bad start to the round in Zhuhai, finished in position 9 in the opening race. Rather, that was qualifying. He finished in position 9, in fact. So that was a good result for him, but he'll be looking for a little bit more. Of course, has raced in TCR Asia in the past. So Srichai continues to hold point. Terry Huang, position 2. His teammate, David Chen, position 3. WS Lai, you can see him on rider screen, trying to get past by, in fact, he's battling with Kennedy Kasiri, the Thai driver. And that's allowed Felipe de Souza to close in. Oh, that's a bit of a look up the inside there by Kasiri. He's looking at a different race line here. You'll find that many of these drivers will use a different line during running in the wet than they will in the dry. Traditionally, the non-racing line has more grip than the actual racing line, depending on how much rubbish is on the circuit. What I mean by rubbish is dust, stones, debris, etc. But provided the circuit is pretty clean, and it was only washed off a couple of days ago with a fair amount of precipitation, then drivers can tend to use that non-racing line to give themselves a little bit of an advantage. So you might think at times they're taking a strange line into a corner, but a lot of that has to do with finding more grip for the car. I mean, some of them pulling out of slipstreams too is also to keep cool air and for visibility. As we see, Kasiri has now dropped behind Felipe de Souza. So the Thai driver's not having the greatest of runs. Now that's disappointment for Alex Liu. There seems to be a terminal issue now for the number 99 Elegant Racing car. Rodolfo Avila is doing a little bit of driver training this weekend. Drove the car earlier in the week. Was very quick. Of course, he has been a former competitor in the TCR Asia Series as well, a former race winner in TCR Asia in his time with the ART race team. So now WS Lai has closed back in on David Chen, and he wants that position back. Meanwhile, Felipe de Sousa's doing a great job, and he'd have a fair bit of knowledge too. Macanese driver. Oh, a little bit of contact by the look of that between Lai and David Chen. You want to be careful of that. They need to get through to the finish of this race, and it looks like that's opened the door for de Sousa to perhaps move forward. No. Lai's closed the door on him again. The Malaysian driver's not allowing him through. Oh, and David Chen's thrown himself off the circuit. Now here's the opportunity. He did this in the opening race, going for the lead, dived up the inside of Kennedy Kasiri and Jasper Thong into turn one, and it was a fantastic move inside two cars in one passing move, but unfortunately for him, he was unable to pull up the car and ran wide and through the gravel trap. Unfortunately, that concluded his opening race. So hero to zero very, very quickly, but he's been one of the really impressive debutants. As we look at a bit of a replay, is that... Oh, it's very close. You can just see a little bit of contact there with WS Lai and David Chen just prior to him running off. So now it goes from 3 to 2, but Kennedy Kasiri is still in this race. He will be looking to try and close onto the tail of the two battling cars immediately in front of him. Left-hand side of screen, that is Felipe de Sousa. Right-hand side of screen, it is WS Lai, a braking duel down into turn one. Has he managed to do it? No. Oh, he has. He has too. It looks like this will be a position change or a drag race down to turn 3 and 4. Oh, just threw him a little bit wide there. That's opened the door for Kennedy Kasiri to perhaps have a bit of a look on the run into turn 4. It's still going on right through this race. Up front though, Tin Srichro. This could be a fantastic result for the young Thai driver. 3.23 seconds clear now of Terry Huang. As now that is SK Tong. Byron Tong has just come off the circuit in the tarmac car of Phoenix Racing Asia. He was in position number 9 and starting to move forward. Yeah, just couldn't pull it up at the end of the main straight. In fact, it moved ahead of Diego Moran. So that's frustration for the Hong Kong driver, who was involved in contact in the opening lap of round 3 of the championship, and ultimately that created some damage with the right rear of the car, and he spun the car shortly thereafter and into retirement. So he didn't finish the first race, so we hope for Byron he can manage to keep everything going, but he was right in the mixed of battle too. So Tin Srichro leads, Terry Wang position 2, WS Lai in position number 3. Felipe de Sousa doing a great job. You can see him in the middle on screen there in the aqua blue and black car for the Macau David Racing team. Then it is Kennedy Kasiri in position number 5, still in position 3 in this championship. Abdul Katir in position number 6 in the second of the R Engineering Honda Civics. Then as David Chen is back to position 7, of course he ran off the circuit on the exit of turn 4 whilst this battle was going on behind him, and that has dropped him a little bit further back down the order. Eric Kay, we were talking about him having a frustrating time earlier. There he is, position number 8 on screen. So he is having a very solid run. Byron Tong's managed to hang on to position number 9. Although this is last time round, so that will have changed. You'd expect Diego Moran will be up to position 9 now in these slippery conditions. Douglas Koo shown in position 11. Jasper Thong, the winner last time out, having a torrid time of this in the wet. Didn't have a fun experience during the wet sessions and just couldn't find a comfortable pace with the car. Shown in position 12. That is stark contrast to the opening race where the 17-year-old just disappeared off into the distance with Kennedy Kasiri not too far behind. They really streeted the field and had a great battle towards the end of the race. But Jasper Thong was up to the challenge from this experienced Thai driver and came through for the very first historic victory for the Audi RS3 LMS TCR. As Kennedy Kasiri is doing everything he can to try and avoid the rear of WS Lai. This is a great battle. Don't go too wide. He's trying the crossover to see whether or not he can get a better run. Down to turn 4. He's got the inside. It'll be a drag race. Let's see what happens. Terry Wang goes through. Felipe de Sousa goes through. This could be the move that we need. We need to avoid any kind of contact. He's trying the crossover again to see if he can get the position out of turn 4, but he hasn't been able to do it. Lai's been here before. He knows how this works. Of course, a product of the Malaysian Touring Car Championship where there's a lot of close combat. He'd be used to this sort of activity, and he's really in this championship hunt with the man behind him. So he's not just going to lie down and let the driver in the Volkswagen immediately behind him take that position away. He'll make it as difficult as possible because this is a championship and they are after these vital championship points. So it's the three Phoenix Racing Asia Audis in positions 11, 12 and 13, with Alex Fong shown in position number 13 and still circulating, which is good news for his legion of fans that have been hanging off his performance this weekend. And unfortunately for Alex Liu in the number 99 Seat Leon for Elegant Racing Team, he is our first retirement. Let's hope it stays at that. Tin Sritre now up by 4.2 seconds at the midpoint of this race. Surprised at the pace of Kasiri a little. He's not raced here before, and the Liqui Moly Team Engstler operation, very experienced touring car campaigners, know how to set these cars up. So it will be a little bit to do with comfort in the car, also to do with miles. Certainly the two Tianchi racing cars. There's another man on screen, Felipe de Souza, who is a local. He lives nearby in Macau, which is not that far from Zhuhai, nor is Hong Kong. As again, Kasiri looks for the inside move. He might have it this time. Oh, just a crossover there for Lai. Kasiri's driving very, very nicely, not forcing any great contact or any big issue, but certainly pushing the point. There's Terry Huang, he's a local. Felipe de Souza, he's a local. David Chen is a local. They've used their local experience to work themselves forward, especially in these tricky conditions. A lot of the drivers said maybe not so technical a Zhuhai circuit, but the big thing they're struggling to find and make right early in the weekend was braking, finding the exact braking marker to get into the corner at the right speed and be able to carry it through and down the next sequence of straights to maximise their performance and their lap time. So this sort of condition doesn't do anything, of course, to help that. But it's racing. You have to race in what conditions you are presented with. And this weekend, and certainly in the days leading up to this weekend, has been very, very changeable conditions. So it's made it very interesting for those teams that don't have the experience here, and it has allowed a little bit of opportunity, of course, for those teams that do have plenty of miles for Zhuhai to be able to eke out a bit of a lead, which is what is happening. Very impressive from Felipe de Souza, now in position number 3, and he's looking for position number 2. Of course, started on the front row, didn't have the greatest of starts, and it looks like he could take this position away. This is a brilliant drive for the Macanese driver. Doing everything he can. He's looming large in the mirrors of Terry Huang. No doubt raced with Terry before, so he'll have a bit of an idea on where the opportunities might be, and he'll be looking to move forward. That'd be the best thing in the world for the Macanese driver. He's making this one-off cameo appearance in the car that Merrick Way ran last year for the Svongven Racing Team, and would be nice to see Felipe de Souza, very passionate racer, back on the podium on his return to the TCR Asia Series. Don't think you'll go around the outside there, my son. You might have to try something a little bit different, but certainly he is working it. This is a driver actually getting in and having a go. He wants to have this position. He's worked his way forward. He's earned this. I don't know if it'll catch Tin Sritre, but certainly Sritre will be watching with interest the rear vision mirror around the outside. That's not going to happen with a local here, I wouldn't imagine. Oh, he's nearly got there. Hopefully they've avoided contact. He's got the inside run now into turn 5 and takes the position away. Brilliant drive by Felipe de Souza, moving up into second position now. That is a great drive by the Macau David Racing Team driver. Of course, an experienced campaigner in TCR after finishing 4th in the 2016 season as the second driver to the Liqui Moly Team Engstler team, alongside Andy Yan, the man who went on to dominate most of the races in the 2016 season and take the championship with a couple of races to spare. Certainly it was a great run by Felipe de Souza, and nice to see him working his way forward. And that was an act of sheer aggression. This was no gift. He worked his way up to this. He might have started on the front row, got a bit swamped off the start, but he is back in this race, and he is comfortably working his way forward. Now, he gained a little bit of time then, obviously, on the man in front of him. Was 2/10 slower last time, 3/10 slower than race leader Tin Sritre. So Sritre is just modulating his pace to stay where he needs to be. He's under no pressure. He doesn't need to put himself under any kind of drama. He just wants to maximise his points haul. And this will be a nice result for the Thai driver if he can follow it through the remaining 5 laps in this second 14-lap race here at Zhuhai International Circuit. Very mixed conditions from opening practice. Best time 1:56.742. I think you'd find that Tin Sritre, well, 7.42, 156.726, Tin Sritrai's best race pace. And there you see it. That is SK Tong, and that looks like a second run through the gravel at turn 1. You see his teammate Jasper Thong immediately behind him. The race winner of round 3 of the championship in fine fashion. He had a lot thrown at him, at the likes of both Tin Sritrai, Candidate Kasiri battling him at the front. Even David Chen had an effort at the front of the field, big dive up to turn 1. None of them could make it stick. There was a little bit of banging doors between Kasiri and Jasper Thong in that opening race here earlier today, and the 17-year-old stood tall. He took on board everything that team boss Marchie Lee had told him, and he just focused on doing his job and not making it easy for anybody around him, and was rewarded with the very first win for the new Audi RS3 LMS TCR. So what is a TCR car? Well, effectively 4 or 5 door hot hatch or sedan, 2-litre turbo touring car formula, front wheel drive only, roughly 330 brake horsepower in the old measure, identical tyres, fuel, and of course matched to performance with pre-season tests where they run all the cars and deliver a balance of performance. So they try to performance match the cars so that effectively they are all identical. Of course they're not. They're different models. They operate the power a little bit differently. They drive differently. They balance differently. But the ultimate goal is, with balance of performance, to make them as even as possible. As we look at Byron Tong immediately in front of, that is now Alex Fong. He may be closing in on his teammates, so we could see some action for Alex Fong after all of this, which would be fantastic. But the cars are balanced for performance, so they are all effectively identical. So they might look a little bit different, but the operation of the car is very much the way the category is structured to maximise and equalise performance. Now it looks like Felipe de Sousa is starting to close down race leader Tin Sritrai. That certainly looked closer. So there's the margin. It was 1.9 seconds up for Sritrai. In fact, it's the opposite way. That's how much he is actually closing in. It's now 3.6 seconds. You can see just how much he's managed to pull away in that last couple of laps from Terry Huang. So this is a nice move by Felipe de Sousa. He's only got 4 laps left. Now, I don't think you'd find that Tin Sritrai is suffering any kind of drama to slow him down. As lights flashing, Douglas Khoo's in a race now with Eric Kay side by side, and avoid contact, just pulled out of it in time. That was a battle for position. Nice to see these two guys a little bit further down the order having a run. A great supporter of the TCR concept is Douglas Khoo, the Malaysian driver, driving for his Viper Nisa racing team. He runs dual campaigns this year. He has 3 Seat Leons in the Viper Nisa racing livery. One of them races in the Thailand Super Series, and he has a second car here for TCR Asia. Has been discussing with various drivers about running a 2-car team, but as yet it is just Douglas, and he's been working his way further forward. Runs a lot of historic racing, more so older production cars. Runs a 260Z Nissan. Has run some interesting cars, including a Peugeot in the past, and really loves this TCR concept. Has his day. One of the sessions at Sepang, he was up inside the top 4 in practice, which was fantastic for him, but unfortunately it hadn't quite followed through to a result at the end of the day, but was on the podium in the TCR Asia Cup last year on a number of occasions, and he'd be looking to try and emulate that opportunity this weekend. In fact, currently this is the battle for second in the Cup. The leader in the Cup standings for this race so far is the poleman, Abdul Katir, who's currently shown in position 6. Diego Moran there just splitting those guys. David Chen still in position 7, starting to catch up to AK as Douglas Khoo has another look at the rear there of Eric Kay. Hasn't managed to pull it off. And this now is WS Lai on the 66 car of Terry Huang. He's really managed to pull in some distance. And we may see a position change. This is for the 3rd step on the podium. So this is the battle for 3rd place. As up front, Felipe de Sousa is now just 3 seconds in arrears from Tin Sritrai. I don't expect Sritrai has any kind of problem. A win is a win. Jasper Thong won by 15/100ths of a second in round 3, the opening race today. You won't go around the outside there, Terry. You know that. Lai has taken the position back. Now it's the drag race down the front straight. 1.7 seconds. I might be putting the commentator's curse on Tin Srichray. He may well have some kind of issue. 1.3 seconds roughly last time round. The advantage on behalf of D'Souza. 2 laps still to go in this race. There's a battle for third. There's a battle for the lead. There's a battle mounting a little bit further back as David Chen is closing in on the tail of AK in the second of the R Engineering Hondas. So there it is, Srichray, D'Souza, WS Lai, Terry Huang, Kennedy Kasiri, position number 5, Abdul Katir, position number 6, David Chen, position 7, and points leader, Diego Moran. That may well change in this race, although 2 of the drivers that he's battling against currently in the outright championship points, one of those, Jasper Thong, and the other one, teammate Kennedy Kasiri, aren't quite as far forward as they would have liked. In fact, the mover potentially in this that'll bring him back into the championship will be the man that was just on screen, WS Light. Now here it is, look at it, it's down to basically a car length or so. Felipe D'Souza has run off the circuit at turn 4. Oh no, this is tragic, and he's going to beach himself. He's done all this work. He's worked his way from pole position. Sorry, he started on the front row of the grid, worked his way back through the pack. Now he's got WS Lai in front of him. He's spewing gravel all over the circuit. He's trying to hold a position. This is going to create a bottleneck and potentially an issue for the Macanese driver. The Malaysian's being very careful not to pick up too much rubbish on his tyres, but he's involved in a battle for position number 3. So this has opened the door for Srichray again. D'Souza, after all that work, if there was one man that deserved to make the top step of the podium in this race for putting in sheer hard work, it was the driver from Macau. Now he's got it all to do again. He's already worked his way past these guys. He needs to stay in front of them, not do anything dramatic. Down to turn 14 for the second last time. Tin Srichray now starts the last lap of this race with a comfortable margin at the front of this field. He managed to improve his pace last time round, but now holds a 13-second lead effectively over Felipe D'Souza. Now it's just come up on screen, driver of the number 26 car, and that of course is the man on screen, Felipe D'Souza, to report to the race director after this race. Now that could be something to do with rejoining the circuit, as Kennedy Kasiri's trying to find his way through again on Terry Huang for position. It's not over yet. The rain always adds an interesting element to these races. Of course, so close, these touring car competitions, and when you add water, it suddenly gets very, very interesting. Geez, still plenty of pace in that number 26 Volkswagen. D'Souza's really done a great job. Of course, track knowledge is playing into a part, and that is Kasiri is finally up the inside of Terry Huang on the last lap. He wants to hold that position. Of course, Huang and teammate David Chen aren't in the championship hunt. They're just running the next couple of events. They're not registered for the championship. So Kasiri needs to be very careful. He won't lose any championship points to the Tianchi Racing Audi in front of him, but he wants to be very careful he doesn't get caught up in any kind of incident. Gee, they almost stopped in the corner. They were so slow in that time. Kasiri just keen to get in front. He will be being reminded by his team that this isn't a championship battle. He doesn't need to be involved in contact. He will still retain that championship position that is currently held by Terry Huang and the points that goes with that. So he will earn 4th place points. Doesn't need to be involved in a fight. WS Light sitting there in 3rd position. This will be a good result for him in the wet, but for Tin Srichray, this is victory. And a nice result for Team Thailand. They need this as a confidence boost. It's been a fairly tough start to the year. That's very wide and very deep for Terry Huang. Where was he going there? He's just driven straight off the circuit on the final corner. And he will drop from 4th position to 5th in this second race at Zhuhai, round 4 of the 2017 championship. But for Tin Srichray, that is victory and a good haul of points. That's just what he needed to get back into this championship hunt. Second across the line, Felipe D'Souza. We'll see how that goes with the race director post-race. 3rd, WS Lai from R Engineering. 4th across the line, Kennedy Kasiri. And it was Terry Huang who managed to recover from throwing himself off the circuit in the last corner of this race to cross the line in position 5. AK in the second of the R Engineering Hondas takes position number 6. And it's David Chen for the Tianchi Racing Team in position 7. Position 8, the championship points leader coming in, Diego Moran. Now he will take away, as a result of this race, 4 points. That will move him to 66 points in the championship. Jasper Thong effectively out of the equation. He finished down in position number 11. Kennedy Kasiri was on 53 coming in. He will be classified 4th. He will take 12 points. He will move to 65 championship points, so effectively 2nd in this championship, 1 point behind Diego Moran. Interestingly, WS Lai finished in position number 3. He will take 15 points. He will move to 57 championship points. And Tin Sritre, well, I think we have a new championship points lead at 25 points to add to the 42 points he had coming into this race, gives him 67 championship points. So unless my arithmetic is completely out, and it's a possible thing, it should be 67 points to Sritre, 66 points to Diego Moran, and 65 points to Kennedy Kasiri after 4 races in the 2017 TCR Asia Series season. The great news for the fans is we're back here again in 3 weeks' time for rounds 5 and 6 of the 2017 TCR Asia Series, as what will be a very happy and very deserving Tin Sritre pulls up the number 79 Jazz Motorsport prepared Honda Civic TCR for Team Thailand, and victory for him, and well deserved in the process. They will be very happy with that. It hasn't been the greatest of times for the drivers. About to lose his door and his legs too if he's not careful, with WS Lai coming up behind him. Great job by the Malaysian driver. He's Tin with his dad and his mum. Very close family, very supportive family of Tin's racing. He put a lot of effort into his TCR career, and arguably he started this championship as one of the title contenders. So he has done just what his compatriot Kennedy Kasiri did, the opening round of the championship, and he has taken his first victory of the year. So 4 rounds down, 4 different winners, and a championship that is well and truly wide open. And this man is one of those right in this race, and he's done a great job. 3 podium results now for WS Lai, and he will be very happy with that. And we see the results. It's Tin Sritre, victory by 10 seconds in the end over Felipe de Souza, classified as 2nd, and a good drive by him. WS Lai position 3, Kennedy Kasiri position number 4 in the Liqui-Moly Volkswagen. Terry Wang, position 5 in the Audi from Abdul Katir in the 2nd of the R Engineering Honda Civics. David Chen, position 7. Diego Moran from Ecuador in the number 32 Volkswagen, position 8. Eric Kay, position 9. Good result for him finally. And Douglas Koo, that too is a nice result for the Malaysian in the Viper Nisa Racing Seat Leon. Jasper Thong, position 11. There's a bit of a comeback from the big victory he had earlier today for Audi Hong Kong. Alex Fong, position 12. SK Tong, position 13. That's the 3 Phoenix Racing Asia cars. And of course, last and classified as a non-finisher, Alex Liu, who pulled into pits after just 3 laps. And there you have it. My maths is pretty good. My father will surely be very happy about that, all that effort. Tin Sritre leads this championship, 67 points, 66 to Diego Moran, 65 points to Kennedy Kasiri, and it's 57 for WS Lai. Jasper Thong is still in this, 54 points. Abdul Katir, his consistency sees him 6th with 42. Felipe de Souza is shown in position 7, and that goes a little bit further back down the order. So a solid result here for the 4th round of the 2017 TCR Asia Series. Of course, 12 rounds in the 2016 season. We end in early October in the Zhejiang circuit, the new facility, 150 kilometres or so from Shanghai. And there's Abdul Katir, takes the lead, joint lead now with Jasper Thong in the TCR Asia Series Cup. Alex Liu, despite not finishing, 45 is position 3. Douglas Q finished 10th in this race, 45 points alongside Eric Kay, position 5. SK Tong and Alex Fong brings up the tail of the field and the championship point score for the TCR Asia Cup. Tin Sritre is prior to this race. Kennedy Kasiri, his long-time rival, fellow Thai, start. And what a ripper start it was from Terry Huang, left to screen in the 66 Tianchi racing car. But how about Tin Sritre? Off the second row, straight down the inside, 2 wheels on the grass if you don't mind, and takes the position away from pole sitter Abdul Katir and leads the field around, just as Jasper Thong did in the opening race, led from start to finish. Further back, WS Lai battling, a little bit of contact there with David Chen, fighting two with Kennedy Kasiri over that position. And not long after that, a little bit more contact, and then we saw David Chen run off the circuit, sadly. This WS Lai battling with Felipe de Souza. De Souza was the big mover. Started off the front row, fell back off the start as he was swamped, and managed to move his way back up the order. Got into a battle for the lead with Tin Sritre as SK Tong had a couple of excursions off the end of the main straight, but managed to keep it together. You can see just how big a lead Sritre had, but de Souza, after working his way past Terry Huang, managed to close down the race leader as WS Lai moved back into position, battling with the Tianchi racing driver. And that was a fantastic battle too over the closing stages of this race. But Tin Sritre, he was holding the control of the front of the race, and despite a challenge from Felipe de Souza, which de Souza effectively threw away coming off on the exit of turn 4 and running through the gravel, that gave Sritre a comfortable run through to the end of this race to take the position away and give himself his first victory of the 2017 season. So a nice result, and that really opens the championship up. So 3 weeks' time, we're back here for the third event of the 2017 season, rounds 5 and 6 to the 12th and 14th of May. 1st and 2nd of July, Bang Sen in Thailand. In fact, that is a week later now, rounds 7 and 8 of the championship. That is a popular event, the Bang Sen Grand Prix, an annual event that is very much a big part of the culture of motorsport in Thailand. Rounds 9 and 10 of the championship, 25th to the 27th of August, Shanghai International Circuit, of course China's Formula One facility, for rounds 9 and 10 of the championship. And the final round, alongside TCR China and the TCR International Series at the new Zhejiang facility, just southwest of Shanghai, and that is of course the 6th and 8th of October. So it is going to be a long season. Finally, there will be an invitational event, we expect, with many of the TCR Asia Series drivers invited to compete in the annual Macau Grand Prix, arguably the toughest event on the annual Asian calendar. Because we're up to about year number 64 for the Macau Grand Prix. That is well and truly storied in history. And we've seen some fantastic and some pretty epic races for the TCR series at Macau at the Gia Circuit over recent years, and we expect that that will continue again in season 2017. So, a good result for the Thai team. Team Thailand swapped across from the Volkswagen they ran at the opening round of the championship, which in fact was Felipe de Souza's car from the 2016 season. Didn't have the greatest of runs, had an electrical issue and a drama with the gearbox, which Sritre felt really inhibited his performance at Sepang. So they came back to the Honda that had given them a lot of dramas during the opening, his maiden season of TCR Asia, of course the 2016 season, was back in the Honda this time round, struggled with a few little niggling issues through practice and testing, didn't quite qualify as well as he would have liked to, but certainly when the wet weather came out, he drew on all of his experience driving in conditions like this and worked his way forward. Great start off the second row and took the lead away in turn 1 and was never fronted beyond that point all the way through. Although I tell you, the drive that Felipe de Souza put in was meteoric. It really was fantastic. You could argue that he lost it all off the start and fell back from the front row further down the order and had to drive back through the field. But that was sheer guts and determination, a very, very solid drive. Fantastic performance from Felipe de Souza. And unfortunately for him, perhaps in the excitement of getting close to the leader and dragging him in and having a possibility of winning his very first TCR Asia Series race, he threw it all away at turn 4, ran wide into the gravel. That allowed Sritre to get away, and he rejoined in front of the battle between WS Lai and Kennedy Kasiri. and that perhaps drew the attention of the stewards. So we'll see how that one plays out. But as it stands at the moment, it is Tin Sri Chai takes the win, round 4 of the championship from Felipe de Souza and Malaysia's WS Lai. Very soon we should be seeing the drivers on the podium, and they will enjoy the end of this Zhuhai round. It's been a pretty tough week for most of them, and there's WS Lai, position number 3, a very happy and excited and pumped Felipe de Souza, and your race winner, round 4 of the championship, Thailand's Tin Sri Chai. Flanked by the KW Suspension girls. Of course, KW Suspension, a fantastic supporter of the TCR Asia Series, as of course is Liquid Moly and Michelin, important partners to the series. Tin Sri Chai proudly wearing the Michelin Victor's cap, and you can still see the emotion pumping out of Felipe de Souza. He's fully pumped after that result, and why not? It was a good run through. He could be very happy with that performance. There are your top 3. Outright, left of screen, Felipe de Souza. In the middle, Tin Sri Chai, and Malaysia's WS Lai on the outside. A good result for him and for Honda. 2 Hondas this time on the podium. It was 2 Audis last time round. No Audis this time. It's Volkswagen that has joined Honda on the podium. Felipe de Souza's worked hard for that champagne, and he wants it. He wants to use it. Tin Sri Chai was quite happy to walk away with it, but no, he's going to have to open it and join Felipe de Souza in celebrating with his team for the Macau David Racing Team. Cameo appearance for him, or for them rather, and a good result. We're expecting to see the team back for the next event. May well have a different driver behind the wheel, but again, Felipe de Souza might have a different idea about that after such a stout run in that race. AM Cup, it'll be AM Cup rather, the TCR Asia Cup. It was of course AM Cup last year. The TCR Asia Series Cup podium will be next up, and it'll be Abdul Katir again on the top step. His result will give him equal championship points lead with Jasper Thong. Of course, Jasper took the top haul of points in both outright and the Cup in round 3 of the championship. The 2 of them now share the championship points lead. Second overall will be Eric Kay, and that's a good result for him after such a torrid start, and a very happy Douglas Koo to be back on the podium. There is Eric Kay. Nice result for him, for the Elegant Racing Team, and he's another driver who really gets into his sport. He loves it. He loves the emotion of it. And for Farouk, that is a nice result. Very proud Malaysian. And of course, they did a great job. He was on the outright podium at the opening round at Sepang. 3rd in race 2, alongside his teammate WS Lai, who has taken his 3rd podium of the season and moved himself well and truly into championship contention. And there it is, Abdul Katir, very happy. Victory in the TCR Cup for the Zhuhai round. Douglas Koo also very happy. He loves his sport, and Eric Kay will be very happy with that too after such a tough start to the season. So there you have it, great results. So thank you for joining us from wherever you have been in the world. Apologies if there is any dramas with your feed. There have been a lot of challenges with the weather and with the internet connections here at Zhuhai. Something we'll be working on for the next round. But join us again, please, here in 3 weeks' time for rounds 5 and 6 of the 2017 TCR Asia Series as we get towards the midpoint of the season. But keep up to date with all the action. www.asia.tcr-series.com, and join us please on Facebook and Twitter, the TCR Asia Series. We look forward to you joining us when we're back here again in 3 weeks' time.